Hello everyone and welcome to Edge Time. If you're new to the channel, I do knife review videos here on YouTube, and for every knife that I review, I try to put out a separate disassembly. So the knife we'll be looking at today is the CRKT Dually. This is a very small, inconspicuous knife. It is a knife that can be carried pretty much anywhere where knives are legal. I'm obviously not a lawyer and I don't give legal advice, but pretty much anywhere where you can carry a knife, you can carry this knife. Very short, very utilitarian design. It's sort of actually a gentleman's design, but just a nice little using knife. Let's go and get into the dimensions here. The edge is about 1 5/8, and then overall blade length is about 1 7/8 or so. And then overall length open is about 5 inches. Overall length closed is about 3.5 inches. So this is, I believe this is the first multifunctional knife that I've reviewed, and it's only multifunctional because it has this little bottle opener up here. But that bottle opener is also the front flipper tab. So it is a front flipper, and it takes a little bit of practice to actually get it to click all the way open. And I'm sure I said this before, but if I haven't, this is a slip joint. This is non-locking. It is double detent slip joint. Sorry. What that basically means is that instead of a lock, you basically have two little liner lock style tabs on the inside of the frame, and they both have little detent balls on them, and those just sort of snap into the blade, to where the blade is non-locking. If you push on the blade, it will close, but it will stay open a little more readily than other slip joints. So very nice design, a little bit safer than a normal slip joint, and a little more snappy and fun to play with. There we go. Got it that time. Usually I can do it, but for some reason today I'm just not, don't have the knack of it. I think it's the angle that I'm holding it at for the camera. Usually if I'm opening it normally, I can get a better flick on it. And if you don't want to do that, you can just open it with your thumb and like that. It's a very fun knife to play with. It opens very quietly, so you're not going to annoy anyone by just clicking it open and closed all the time. The blade is not centered, which is fine. It's a very small, inexpensive knife. This was like $13 or $14 from Blade HQ. Uh, let's see, some things that I like and don't like. Well, for one thing I noticed recently is that at the very tip of the blade, it's going to be very nearly impossible for the camera to see, but I see just a little bit of overheating that I most certainly did not do to it. So, I guess maybe just ground it for a second too long at the factory, which is fine. This is once again an inexpensive knife. It's not really going to change anything. Um, the logos are pretty big, inconspicuous. I mean, it says CRKT really big on this side, and Dooley, Rogers Design, and then the model number. But that's not really a huge deal. Once again, it's an inexpensive knife. And for the price, you are not going to find, or it's going to be very difficult to find a better handle texture than this. This is just a plastic or fiberglass reinforced nylon scale, but the texturing on here is amazing. It's like sort of like a fish scale pattern, but it's just so fine and been done so well. Very pleasing to look at, and the light catches it amazingly. Uh, let's see here. What do I normally do here? The it's sort of difficult to review this one like a normal knife because it just doesn't work like a normal knife in a lot of ways. But ergonomics are fine. I mean, you can sort of tell what the ergonomics are going to be like looking at it. It doesn't lock into your hand like some knives, but I mean, you can grip it pretty much anywhere, and it's good. No jimping, not a bit of jimping on this knife. Well, actually, there is a little bit up here. What was I? What was I thinking? There is a little bit of jimping here, but it's sort of in a weird place. It's back here where your thumb can't get to it. If the knife is open, you can use it if the knife is closed here to help open, and then there's a little bit right here on the top of the front flipper. But I almost wish that they had put a little bit more on there just because it doesn't really help much. You sort of have to have completely dry or even slightly sticky fingers to even be able to use it. If your hands are even the slightest bit greasy or wet or anything, you're not going to be able to open it like this, or at least it's going to be very difficult. Let's see here. The action is good. it takes a little bit of getting used to actually be able to flick it open quickly. And yeah, if I really put my mind to it, I can do it. It's just, it's not the most natural motion. It's something you kind of have to learn. But I mean, the action is still just fine. It's nice and snappy. It works very well. This is, I want to say this is like 5 CR steel, which is, it's just a cheap Chinese steel, nothing noteworthy. This did come insanely sharp out of the box, and that is because, I mean, it's a very small blade, but the grind starts way up here. It's a big old hollow grind, and then a very, very shallow edge as well. So it is like, or very, very acute edge, I guess you'd say. So it is very sharp, very slicey design. I like it. The entire blade is belly. There is not a straight section on this blade. So if you need a straight edge for stuff, you're probably not gonna want to look to this knife because I mean, yeah, whole blade is a curve. Pocket clip is fine. No notes about that. I wish that this was not here. This little, or this lanyard hole, because it just sort of disrupts the pocket profile. I feel like if that was not there, this thing would just carry so pretty down in the pocket. I actually don't have a piece of fabric to slip this over. I should probably do that, but yeah, it just, here, actually, I have a knife roll here. This will more or less demonstrate the pocket profile. So it's as you can see, that little lanyard hole just really sticks up there, and it can help to sort of pull it out of your pocket. But I still think the profile would be so much better without that. And I don't know anyone that actually uses lanyards, or very few people that actually use lanyards. And I do not use lanyards, so I wish there was at least a way to take that off, but still have the knife be solid. But unfortunately, that is structural to the knife, so I just gotta live with it. It's fine. The detent on the pocket clip is not, or is fine, nice and snappy. I don't really think there's a whole lot more to say about this knife. Overall, I think it is a good knife for the price. I wouldn't really, I wouldn't get it again just because it's I would just get a different knife. Um, there's not really a whole lot of uses I have for this knife. I will say when I am dressed in a more formal manner, like wearing a suit or something like that, it is very nice just to be able to slip this into one of the inner pockets or something like that. Um, so yeah, a very discreet carry, and once again, sort of a take it anywhere sort of knife. And with that, I think that's about all I have to say about the CRKT dually. Once again, it is a good knife. It's a pretty good knife for the price. I'd say there are better knives that you could get for the price, such as, I'm going to keep referring to this one for a while, the Ozark Grail. This is just way more knife for the price, but I mean, it's bright orange and it's sort of deep carry, but it's not going to carry as discreetly as this thing, and it's pretty big. So yeah, if you are specifically looking for a small, discreet carry in the budget range, I would say go with this one. Either that, or there are other small CRKTs like this, like the Scribe, that you could also look at. But yeah, it's a pretty solid little knife. So with that, I will also be making a disassembly of it, which will be very short, very sweet, because it is a simple knife. So with that, I will see you all in the next one. Have a good day.